nowadays I believe is an Indian. You look at our problems and how God or divinity is solving it. Effectively, our economy looks bigger and better because our competitors, our peers' economy is looking in a bad shape. Now you put these three things together, talent, capital, infrastructure, the roadmap to Viksit Bharat gets created. So we will become Viksit Bharat undoubtedly. Where is the question? Our savings habit is good, but our investment habit is bad. One generation of Indians will have to work hard. There's no choice. A right entrepreneur will figure out a way to ride India wave. I think next government's priority will be healthcare and education, both using digitization. Take a call based on how your risk-taking ability is, not based on market. Thank you, Rajesh and Shrikara, for inviting me over here. The topic given to me is Roadmap to Viksit Bharat. Let me first start in a lighter vein and then we'll go to serious stuff. So, how many of you believe in God? I mean, most of us. And even if you're not believing, you better start believing. Because in case He's there and you don't believe, then there is a problem. And if He's not there and you don't believe, then anyway, there's no gain, no loss. So might as well believe. But the more important thing is that God nowadays, I believe, is an Indian. You look at our problems and how God or divinity is solving it. If you had inside information on oil, that Israel Hamas will go to war, Russia Ukraine will still continue to fight, Red Sea disruption will stop the flow of oil, shipping rates and oil tanker rates will zoom to the sky, and Russia and Saudi-led OPEC and non-OPEC will cut oil production by 4 million barrels a day. All of us would have assumed oil at $150, but there's someone upstairs who said, don't worry, I'll keep oil at $75 to $80. You look at growth forecast, we started the year at 6, we are ending the year at 8. I mean, we normally go wrong in growth forecast, but not by 25% margin. This year, and in Bangalore, it's touchy subject, but they say monsoon will be without El Nino like last year. So you just have 4-5 months to survive. After that, rains will come. I mean, somewhere there looks like divine intervention to our problem. Now, do you get convinced that the God is Indian? Let me give you a second reason why you should get convinced. I think Uparwala also knows that we are Indian. We'll play well to win 10 matches and in final we'll lose. So he's ensuring that we don't lose in final. If you see Birbal ki kahani, Akbar asked Birbal to make a line bigger without touching it, and Birbal drew a small line below and the line above started looking bigger. God is also doing the same thing to us. We are doing well, but God has ensured that our peers continue to score self-goal. So Russia got eliminated as a peer after their invasion of Ukraine. China is struggling with real estate in Taiwan. Their growth rate is now 5% and 4%. South Africa is on the downhill and God is pushing it to go further down. Brazil had all the great fundamentals, but they got communist government. Effectively, our economy looks bigger and better because our competitors, our peers' economy is looking in a bad shape. Now, this only God can do. Earlier, we used to score self-goals. Now, God is ensuring that others score self-goal and we don't. So, undoubtedly, there is a God and it is an Indian. Final proof why there is divinity. If you look at Panchtantra story, there were 2 cats and a monkey, and 2 cats found a piece of bread and monkey ate it. We were in geopolitics always the cat. Monkey will go and take out our bread. So for example, we were importing oil from Iran. It is our closest neighbor who can give oil to us, so logistics cost was virtually low. They were giving us in rupee. That money was kept in UCO bank account 10 years, 15 years back. And that rupee was used to buy goods from Indian traders at inflated price. We could not have got a better rupee than that. One day American monkey came and said, we are levying sanctions on Iran, don't buy oil from them. We stopped buying oil. What happened? China kept on importing that oil, and our trade deficit with China is today at $100 billion a year. They became competitive using cheaper Iranian oil, and we became expensive by buying costly Saudi oil. Now we have become the Panchtantraka's monkey. When America put sanction on Russia, we said, fair enough, that's your battle, but I have to import oil from where I can buy the cheapest. And you can do whatever you want to do, but I will buy oil from where it is available and it is cheaper. To Russia, we said, can you take rupee payment? Today, lakhs of crore of Russian rupees lying in our banks. And more importantly, after that, we went to America and said that, incidentally, we also want to make fighter planes and we need jet engine technology. Can you give to us, or otherwise we'll go to France? And US is saying that fair enough, I'll give you F-16, F-35, whatever jet engine technology you want. So transition of India from Panchtantra ki billi to Panchtantra ka monkey, that is purely divine. So now I've convincingly proven to you that there is a God upstairs. He or she is an Indian and he or she is taking care. So we will become Viksit Bharat undoubtedly. Where is the question? On a serious note, I think for the first time we have been given a goal of becoming Viksit Bharat. It's not an easy task, but at least a foundation is being laid to achieve that difficult task. I don't think so we are in a position to take it for granted that in 2047 India will become a developed country, but we are putting building blocks on which this foundation can be laid. The first building block is retention of talent in India. If you go to IIT, IIMs in the prior to 2000, almost 90% batch will go abroad. Opportunities were there. Today, 50, 60, 70% batch is staying back in India. Our talent, instead of going abroad, is staying back. And that is the first big advantage. Now we are hearing that even talent which went out is returning back. About 75 scientists from US and Europe are returning back to India for doing basic work. When we exported Satya Nadellas and Sundar Pichais and Arvind Krishnas of the world, they started working there and today are heading Microsoft and Google and Adobe and so on and so forth. When this talent stays back in India, will they create Microsoft? Answer is no. But will they create a company which will be equivalent of smaller version of Microsoft? Answer is quite likely. Today, Rajesh bhai, there is a news about a startup in India where NVIDIA is very bullish, and I don't remember the name, but I'm sure many of you would have got it on WhatsApp. Now, can you ever imagine NVIDIA becoming bullish on a startup in India for their AI chip related work? 1 out of 4 chip designed in the world is today designed and developed in and around Bangalore. There are 230 global capability centers working in and around Bangalore which are designing chips. From those design centers, some Nandan Nilekani, some Narayan Murthy, some Azim Premji will come out and they'll set up their own chip designing unit eventually. So talent retention is the biggest advantage India is getting. Now talent without capital has no meaning. you require capital to support talent. Today, fortunately, we have private equity venture capital system where people are able to raise capital if they have business idea. Today, it's not that Tata's son or Birla's daughter or Ambani's son will be able to set up businesses. Many middle class people with fire in the belly and business idea is able to set up businesses. India's largest broking company is in Bangalore. It's not in Mumbai. It's not run by a Gujarati Marwadi. I mean, Kotak was the largest broker. They have money also and they have brain also, and yet they surrendered to Zerodha. Talent and capital is making the biggest difference. And on top of it, now look at infrastructure. Now, while our city infrastructure is bad, outside of city infrastructure has started developing. Roads, ports, power, telecom, airport, rail electrification. Slowly and steadily we are moving from infrastructure deficit to infrastructure availability. Today we have learned that it takes about 5 hours for a cargo to move from a factory in Bangalore to get loaded onto the aeroplane. Bangalore customs has become model customs in India where clearance times is less than 5 hours. Now, can this be replicated in other parts of the country? So there is infrastructure coming into play. Now you put these three things together, talent, capital, infrastructure, the roadmap to Viksit Bharat gets created. And already we are seeing certain good signs. For example, between 2004 and 2014, India and Sub-Saharan Africa countries' GDP was moving in tandem. Now, we are moving way ahead of Sub-Saharan Africa GDP. So clearly our GDP is accelerating. From 10th largest economy in 2014, we have become 5th largest, and in a couple of years we should become 3rd largest. So what we are seeing getting differentiated vis-a-vis Africa is also seeing getting differentiated vis-a-vis rest of the world. And this growth is coming with prudence. Unlike US, UK, Spain, Canada, where the debt to GDP ratio is running at 100%, 150%, 200%, 250%, our debt to GDP ratio is still 80%. I'm not mortgaging my kids' future to survive in my present. But the American parents will not be able to say that. US is 7 times bigger than us in GDP. Their credit card debt is 40 times higher than us. And their student loan is 90 times higher than us. In fact, their student loans of all Americans is more than all the loans Indians have taken, including auto, housing, personal, student, credit card, everything. In India, if we take housing loan, all of us do prepayment, and 30-year housing loan gets prepaid within 8 or 9 years on an average. In America, day will come when kids will pay for student loan of their father and mother. That's the kind of situation which is going to come over there. So we are laying the foundation with talent, capital, infrastructure, and a reasonably good economics. Now, obviously, there will be challenges which we'll have to overcome. The first and the biggest challenge is technology. We missed out on industrial revolution, and for next 200 years, thanks to colonization, our growth rate becomes zero. For 200 years, from 1950 to before, we just didn't grow. Now, if we miss AI, ML revolution, can our growth rate plummet? There are few examples which gives you confidence that we will be able to overcome technological challenge. We have invested in explosive company in Nagpur, which is today exporting explosives to Sweden, home of Dr. Alfred Nobel, inventor of explosives. They have made explosives which will have only light, no sound. So you can blast even in an eco-sensitive terrain. There is a company in Bangalore, an auto component company. They have become first company in entire world in Toyota ecosystem to get contract for manufacturing of engine spare part. Toyota hitherto produced all engine and engine spare parts inside the company. First time they are giving it outside, and that's a Bangalore-based company. There is a company whose IPO has very recently come from Rajkot. They make CNC machine. Their machines are 40% cheaper than their competitor, and they are making of such quality that Apple is using that to make iPhones in Hosur. There's another company whose IPO has come. In the entire Mitsubishi ecosystem of vendors who make turbine, they are the only company which has delivered a particular fineness of metal which Mitsubishi wants for making next generation turbine. So whether they are established companies like Tata's, Birla's, Ambani's, Adani's, or they are small and medium enterprises, there is hope that India should be able to capture technology wave, and we won't miss this out like industrial revolution. This is more of an exception to the rule than the rule yet, but I think we are moving in right direction. The second challenge which we will face is power. Our PLF on thermal power plants at about 81%. This summer we may witness power cuts, and in Bangalore I am already seeing power cuts. I think this will spread to the rest of the India also. Next 2-3 years power capacity is not coming up, and we may witness power shortages like we were seeing it before. Can a divine intervention come? Answer is yes. There is about 30,000 megawatt of power capacity with state electricity boards. They run it at a PLF of 50. If they give to NTPC, whose PLF is about 80 plus, then maybe we'll get 8, 9, 10,000 megawatt of extra capacity over a period of time. And that will help us bridge 2-3 years of power shortage. Will our state and central government truly work in cooperative spirit, or they'll say hell with everyone else, but we'll have power shortages? Let's see. The third challenge which India will face is related to funding your investment. We are good savers, but we are bad investors. As a country, in 21 years, we have spent about $373 billion in import of gold. This does not include gold smuggling, and we all know every day gold gets confiscated at airport. We also know that when you are looking at airport, and if especially flights are arriving from Dubai and Singapore, you suddenly see Bappi Lahiri cousins coming out loaded with gold jewelry. Collectively, would we have spent about $500 billion in import of gold, silver, diamond, pearl in just 21 years of this century? This is more than foreign direct investment we have received. This is more than foreign portfolio investment we have received. We are in need of capital, and we are exporting capital on a net basis. And what are we doing with this gold? Majority goes into Tichori and safe deposit locker. It's a frozen saving. Who knows how much gold we have? Is it $1.5 trillion? Is it $2.5 trillion? Who knows? Is there a way we can unlock this frozen gold and put it into economy? If through some divine intervention, and truly we will need blessings of Padmanabha Swami and Tirupati Devsthanam and so on and so forth, suddenly we will have enough capital to carry out our investment activity. Even if we don't monetize gold, can we monetize other portion? For example, Rajesh bhai, in last 3 years, RBI has published households' financial flow data, and in mutual fund, we have got about 4 lakh crore. And as you know, in last 3 years, mutual funds have delivered very good return. But households have put 9 lakh crore in currency notes. And currency note is depreciating asset. Inflation hits currency notes year after year. How do, Rajesh bhai, we go and convince people on street that, boss, why are you investing in currency notes which is depreciating? Why don't you invest in mutual fund which is appreciating? I mean, our savings is getting wasted like this. 9 lakh crore in currency notes and 4 lakh crore in mutual fund. Direct equity is less than 1 lakh crore. I mean, CNBC वाले को तो बेचारे को शर्म आएगी कि बस मैं 24 घंटे बकबक करता रहता हूँ, and फिर भी currency note sells more than the equities in this country. So our savings habit is good, but our investment habit is bad. And education has nothing to do with investment. India's most literate state is Kerala. Till last year, cumulative retail equity mutual fund AUM of Kerala was 15,000 crore. Now, because markets have run up, it would have become 20,000 crore. And annual spending by Kerala on lottery is more than 15,000 crore. And Martin has proven it. I mean, the most educated audience of India's state spends money on lottery where you are bound to lose money. And in mutual funds, people are overall bound to make money, not everyone, but overall. And yet, what they spend annually on lottery is not the cumulative AUM of equity mutual fund over the last 25-30 years. So, how do we monetize our savings and channelize into productive investment? Then the growth can take off. One challenge will be also good economics equal to good politics. Today elections are being fought over freebies, and you have seen various other states are seeing. One of the demand is old pension scheme. Today also there is a news that government employees wants to go on strike for OPF. Old pension scheme guarantees last drawn salary into some ratio to government employees. And then early 2000 we launched new pension scheme. Today in a state like Bihar, old pension scheme accounts for 49% of their tax revenue. So every 100 rupee Bihar government earns, 49 rupees goes in payment of pension. If they adopt old pension scheme for all those employees after 2000, I think 75% will go towards payment of pension. There will be no money left to pay interest or salaries or run electricity or hospital or school or college or anything. And Bihar is not alone. There are so many states which are somewhere in that line. Entire Northeast, more than half of revenue goes only in payment of pension. When we work with government people, they also want old pension scheme because it's guaranteed return. And I have to tell those young guys that, if you adopt this, your salary and your contribution will be used to pay old pension scheme to other employees. By the time you retire, there will be no government, there will be no country, and there will be no pension. तो कुछ मिलने वाला नहीं है. And yet they are willing to take the risk of guaranteed pension, and they are all pushing for OPF. We can't afford to score a self-goal like that. We need to ensure that freebies remain under control, and we are able to create good economics equal to good politics. I think we have a reasonably good chance to become Viksit Bharat by 2047. Talent, capital, infrastructure will all come into play. Our entrepreneurs will go and master the art of technology. We just need to channelize our savings so that we can support them in investment. And we need to ensure that governance remains on the right side of economics and not the wrong side of economics. If we put all these things together, there will be challenges, but eventually we will do well. One final point. Today there are states which are as big as yesterday's India. So Maharashtra's GDP today is equivalent to India's GDP in 2005. In 17 years, Maharashtra reached where yesterday India was. UP, Uttarakhand are equivalent to 2001 India, and Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and Karnataka are equivalent to 2000 India. So in about 20 odd years, these 6 states have reached where yesterday India was. Now UP is already talking about $1 trillion GDP, which will be 25% of today's India. Maharashtra obviously is talking about $1 trillion. And very soon Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka will talk about $1 trillion. Over the next 20 years, if these states continue to work as hard as last 20 years, they will create probably equivalent of today's India. So effectively 5 times today's India will be created in these 6 states over the next 20 years. And then there are 23 other states which are also doing something. Obviously, that journey will have its own ups and downs and we'll have to manage challenges. But we have done that in the past and will do it in the future. Put together, can we create a roadmap to the Viksit Bharat? Answer is yes. The journey will be tough. We'll all have to work hard. But I think today we have all the necessary ingredients to achieve that Viksit Bharat goal. And let's hope and pray that we are successful.
Thank you so much, sir. I think, as always, it's quite motivating, inspiring, and giving us a lot of confidence on how we have to go ahead. So before we break in, we just take a quick group photo and then we take a rest.